Well, this quote really hits on the fundamental mistake that most of us make. We compare feature lists, like we're picking out a new app for our phone, but that is absolutely the wrong way to think about it. The secret isn't finding the one best tool, it's about finding the right tool for the specific job you need to get done. And the stakes for getting this wrong, they are incredibly high. Get this, according to Agile Engine, a staggering 80% of AI projects fail to deliver on their promises. That is double the failure rate of other IT projects. And a lot of the time, that failure starts right at the beginning with choosing a tool that's too complicated, maybe too simple, or just completely wrong for the job at hand. So in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We'll start with the AI family tree just to get the basics down, then we'll compare the major players head to head, show you how to match the right tool to your specific task, and finally, we'll cover the crucial business realities like cost and responsibility. Let's dive in. All right, first things first, let's get the terminology straight. You hear AI, machine learning, and deep learning thrown around all the time, sometimes like they're the same thing. They're not, and trust me, understanding the difference is the first step to making a smart choice and avoiding a really expensive mistake. The easiest way to think about this is like a family tree. So artificial intelligence, or AI, that's the grandparent. It's the big overarching idea of making machines smart. Then you have machine learning, or ML. That's the parent. It's a more practical part of AI where computers learn from data we give them. And finally, you have deep learning, the prodigy child. This is a super specialized type of ML that uses these complex neural networks to handle all the messy stuff like text and images that power the generative AI tools we use today. So, what's the actual practical difference for a business? Well, think of machine learning models like talented apprentices. You have to guide them, tell them what data points are important, and they work great with neat structured data like you'd find in a spreadsheet for sales forecasting. Deep learning models, on the other hand, they're more like independent researchers. They can figure out what's important all on their own from huge, messy piles of data, but they take a lot more time and power to train. It's really a trade-off between control and raw capability. Okay, now that we've got the foundations, let's get to the main event, comparing the big four generative AI tools that most of us are trying to choose between right now. You can see right away how specialized each of these tools has become. ChatGPT is kind of your all-around creative workhorse, fantastic for brainstorming. Claude, it acts more like a careful analyst. It's great at complex reasoning, and it's designed to be really safe. Perplexity is the researcher of the group. It's built from the ground up for fact-checking with live data and citations. And then you have Gemini, which is the ultimate integrator, deeply plugged into the whole Google ecosystem. Each tool also has its own distinct personality. ChatGPT is chatty and conversational, Claude is more formal and professional, Perplexity is just the facts. And this matters a whole lot depending on what you're doing. You probably don't want a casual chatty tone for a legal document. The really good news here is that they all have solid free versions to let you test them out, and the paid plans have all settled right around $20 a month, which makes this stuff more accessible than ever. Okay, so we've met the players, but this brings us to the most important point of this whole thing. We have to stop asking, what can this cool new tool do, and start asking, what specific job do I need to get done? Because at the end of the day, this is the only question that matters. It's not about finding the one AI to rule them all. It's about looking at your own workflow and finding the tool that's going to save you time, make your work better, and just make your life easier. And when we look at how hundreds of people are actually using these tools for their businesses, a really clear pattern emerges. For those creative, persuasive, brainstorming tasks, think marketing copy, ChatGPT usually has the edge. But for more formal, analytical, or just careful tasks, like drafting a business plan or a technical document, Claude's more measured and professional tone often gives you a much better result right out of the gate. All right, let's do a quick rapid-fire round for a few more specific jobs. Need to do research with up-to-the-minute sources? That's Perplexity, no question. Working deep inside the Google ecosystem with docs and sheets? That's Gemini's home turf. Writing or debugging code? The consensus is Claude is your best bet. Analyzing a spreadsheet and making charts? ChatGPT's data analysis is fantastic. And if you need to summarize a massive report, Claude's ability to handle huge documents makes it the clear winner. Now, picking the right tool for the task is half the battle for sure. But for any professional or business, there are these other realities you have to deal with. When should you pay? How do you justify the cost? And how do you use these things responsibly? Look, the free plans are amazing for learning the ropes and for occasional one-off tasks. But if you're using AI regularly for your actual job, if you're relying on it for complex work, or you need consistently high-quality results for clients, that $20 upgrade to a pro plan is honestly one of the best investments you can make. You get access to the more powerful models, and that just makes all the difference. And if you need to justify that cost to your boss, or even just to yourself, the math is actually pretty simple. First, just estimate how much time you're saving each week and multiply that by what your time is worth. Then, think about the impact on the quality of your work. From there, you just compare those benefits to the monthly cost. Honestly, if you save just 1 hour a week and your time is worth more than $5 an hour, the subscription has already paid for itself. But with all this power comes some pretty serious responsibility. One of the biggest risks for any business is AI bias. Now, this doesn't happen because the algorithm is evil. It happens because the AI learns from historical data that reflects our own human biases. So, for example, if you train an AI on past hiring decisions, it's just going to learn to replicate any discrimination from the past, and that creates a massive liability. And this leads to a really critical question for any business, especially if you're in a regulated industry like finance or healthcare. If your AI model makes a big mistake, say it denies someone a loan, can you explain exactly why it made that decision? If the answer is no, you've got a very serious business and legal risk on your hands. Navigating this new world really means you have to be proactive. Businesses need to know what AI systems they're using, figure out the risks, constantly test for bias, keep good records, and, this is the most important one,
Always make sure a human is in the loop for the big decisions. The AI should recommend, but a human has to decide.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? We are moving really fast past the era of just picking one AI tool. The future belongs to the professionals and the businesses who learn how to conduct an entire orchestra of them, using the right tool for the right task, all working together. The only question is, are you ready to pick up the baton?